We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson better than Okada.
How do you not get 60 after Monday Night Raw?
What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It's Sunday, August the 31st. We're fresh off of Clash in Paris, and we're going to break it down. I have a sweet crew with me to do so. Let me introduce them to you. First and foremost, I'm going to send this one over to the East Coast to Angie, my good friend. How are you? Did you enjoy this show as much as we did? Because I had a blast.
Honestly, I really enjoyed it. I'm actually really glad that I got a chance to catch it when I did, because I was almost half asleep when it started. But I had to make sure I came in so I can actually watch it with you guys. And honestly, solid show, I'd say.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Obviously, we had an explosive ending, and we'll get to that at some point here. No doubt about it. But let me toss this now to Philadelphia, to the co-host of Sold Separately, a good friend, Anthony Ricciardi. How are you? How much did you enjoy Clash in Paris?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was one of their better ones in recent memory with WWE, and it's always fun to see a pay-per-view during the day, so that it's kind of, you kind of enjoy it a little bit earlier than you normally do.
Absolutely. I'm starting to dig this. Like, it feels like an NFL Sunday. You get to wake up in the morning, you watch it around the time the football games start, and then you're done by now. I don't dislike it in the least. Tony D'Angelo is in Paris here from DCX Warlord, but we hadn't seen him. We didn't get to see him today, but definitely something that was really interesting there. We're spoiler free here, though, at WR, so we didn't believe it in the first place, But let's get into our first topic, which is the first match of the evening, and that is Roman Reigns defeating Bronson Reed, but not necessarily walking out of there on his own 2 feet. Yes, he did choke out Paul Heyman, for lack of a better way to put it, and he also won via spear, but he took multiple spears from Braun Breaker and multiple tsunamis from Bronson Reed. This was an interesting affair. I thought it was an awesome way to open the show. I really liked the match, and I do think it makes sense to sort of write him off before Street Fighter. But Angie, I want to get your thoughts, and then I'll talk to you about it as well, Anthony.
Honestly, I thought the match was pretty good. It was actually a pretty good start to the whole thing. The crowd, of course, as usual, being so into it and everything. And just like the energy from bell to bell seemed like it was actually pretty solid. Love the fact that Roman Reigns got a chance to get the Shula Fala. And but I wasn't expecting that to be the ending. Well, at least I wasn't expecting Braun Breaker, but at the same time, you kind of just expect him to come up at some point.
Absolutely. And I mean, it was a pretty much beautiful disaster at the end there. I was tickled by it. I thought it was hysterical every single time that the medics would be around Roman Reigns, like, and Bronson would climb the ropes, they would just immediately retreat to elsewhere. That made me laugh as hard as anything. I thought the match was really good. I don't know, as far as storytelling wise, why we would have made the announcement that Roman Reigns was going to walk Jey Uso to the ring. It didn't seem to be paid off in the main event. Anthony, what were your thoughts about that aspect of it? Because I thought that was kind of a funky move.
I didn't have an issue with it. That's his best intentions. Things happen. People make plans and then something happens and they can't fulfill those. I didn't have an issue with that. The match itself, it's two beasts beating each other down. That's always fun to watch. Unstoppable force, immovable object, that whole thing. It's one of those things where even though Roman technically won the match, Bronson looks like a bigger deal because he went toe to toe with arguably the most dominant champion in years when he was WWE champion. But they wrote him off. That's the logical move because Roman is going off TV to film Street Fighter or do Hollywood things at this point. So they made him look really strong. Bronson looked awesome. Braun Breaker continues to impress with the spear, despite the fact that during the watch along, Clark and I feel that Braun Breaker may have injured himself a little bit. And
I thought he got himself a little low the way that
God understands. He had the look in his eyes that every guy has ever had when they've gotten that. So, that was kind of telling. I thought they did a nice job of, making Braun Breaker and Bronson look really good. And every time Braun Breaker delivers that spear, remind you, no one else should be doing a spear because that is the best that's ever been done. And I think it's better than Goldberg's, even towards the peak. Like Braun Breaker just flies out of nowhere with such force. It really, really sells it.
Absolutely. And we got some comments here. We got Fernando Zayas with good evening, WR crew. Thank you so much, Fernando, as always. And then we've got Donnie De Silva with the theme of the entire show was getting over without going over. I actually kind of agree. It actually kind of makes sense. A lot of the people that didn't win, or did win, either got over and that's fair. Absolutely.
That's a success. If you're able to do that and get everyone over, it's always a win.
Absolutely. We've also got Clash in Paris was fire from Fernando Zayas. DCX Warlord with Braun Breaker is better than Rhino. That's fair, I would say. And then just left the arena atmosphere was nuts. Shout out Roundhead. Absolutely. I hope you had a blast. That's awesome. And then I do love this from DCX Warlord as well, which is they're 100% going to do AJ Lee or Nikki Bella and CM Punk versus Becky and Seth. Yeah. I'm pretty confident that's the deal. Josh Haywood here with a solid show tonight. Didn't actually like Becky in the finish, but it does make sense. Glad to have a sensible finish this time in the they're in France, but either way, I knew what he meant. Let's move on though to our next bout of the evening here. We've got the Wyatt Six retaining against the Street Profits. And Anthony, I'm going to go straight to you because I don't have a whole lot of positives outside of the entrances were okay. Coming out of this one. What's going on with the tag team division here?
Honestly, the SmackDown tag division is the most stacked one in all of wrestling. I don't think anybody else has a tag division, really. It's a couple teams. SmackDown's stacked. I've never been a big fan of the Wyatts. I've said that before. Coming in, I felt this is a nostalgia act. Coming in, I wanted to be wrong. But as a whole, they're an entrance. After you get past the entrance, you're like, okay. I don't. That was one of the things we talked about during the watch along. There's no sense in why this team's together. We get why Rowan's there. We get why Bo Dallas is there. We don't understand why the other members are there. There's no true connection, and they've never explained it. I feel like WWE has this moment where they're like, we have to have a stable, but we don't have to explain who is in the group. Now Damage Control that's gone, so now we need a new stable, thus the Wyatts. I liked the match. I thought it was a solid match. Like I said, the SmackDown Tag Division, I think the matches are delivering. They just need the compelling story part to kind of really make it work. But like I said, nobody else in major wrestling right now has a really compelling story with their tag titles. Like no one does. not AEW, not Raw, not TNA. No one really truly does have that compelling interest in their tag titles.
It's so true.
So, by default, SmackDowns is the most compelling because you got the teams and you're at least getting the good matches.
Yeah, it's a really funky situation we're in here, and I didn't think the match was bad. We were talking about during, like, Joe Gacy. You forget how good he is in the ring.
Joe Gacy as a single star, if you wanted to, he could be the new Mick Foley for them as far as because we've seen him do hardcore stuff prior to WWE, and I'm not saying he goes hardcore route, but he's somebody that style wise he reminds me of Foley in the ring at different points.
That's a really bold comparison. Obviously, we also had Montez Ford in that match, and Montez still has it, man. That spot diving over the ring post never gets old. It blows me away. Angie, do you have any thoughts here on the tag team division and the state of that division as well as the match?
You ever just find what it looks like when someone has writer's block and what it looks like on TV? That's what the entire tag team division looks like. Someone has writer's block and doesn't know what to do with them at this point because as you mentioned, you were trying to figure out like what's really the connection with the Wyatts and everything. Like they're all their own versions of like the different they're all the la 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 la. they're all their own versions of the different characters from the Firefly Funhouse and everything. So like that, they have something going on. They have a connection. It's just they don't know what to do with them. And they forget to, still mention that connection as to why they're all these different characters. Someone just simply has writer's block. But other than that, the match was all right, I guess. Like, it could have had like a little bit more to it, but it's your standard tag team shenanigans.
Right.
So it's like, it's all right, I guess.
I'm with you there. We've got Donnie with an interesting comment here. He said that the tag match cemented the Wyatts as heels so fans can stop calling them tweeners. The main story is the long-awaited profit split.
I always thought the Wyatts were heels. I never thought they were faces.
I'm hoping not for the profit split. Yeah, I mean, I got the tweener thing. The connection to Bray Wyatt makes it hard to root against them, and so I can see that, right? You know what I mean? Which is different, I think, in and of itself. Obviously, DCX Warlord here with Alexa was Nikki's tag partner. Yes, absolutely. But let's move on to, we've got more matches to cover tonight. And let's talk about Becky Lynch retaining her title via backslide against Nikki Bella. I enjoyed this match. There was a little bit of funkiness in the middle. I thought it was good. I thought it was a weird place to be on the card. But I actually think Nikki Bella is going to get a lot of trash talk via the online space from this that's undeserved. And I know for a fact that Ben Allison on his Allison analysis is going to echo that sentiment. But Angie, I'm going to go to you first here. What were your thoughts on the match? Becky retains versus Nikki Bella.
Second verse, same as the first. It was all right. It wasn't. I hate to say this, but this match basically showed exactly how I feel about the Diva era as it was. It's like, it's at most it was all right. At worst, why should I care? Like, it was one of those ones. It's like, I want to care a little bit, but I just don't. Like, it doesn't really do anything. Like, the only storytelling for this is the fact that they're basically what is one of the few that are left from that era, and just being like, oh, I was here to replace you. I was here to do XYZ and all of that. But other than that, there really wasn't much of a connection, at least on my end, for all of this. So,
Yeah, I hear you. And Donnie De Silva echoing the same similar sentiment here with they did Nikki a major disservice with the booking too many spots and too long. I would agree with that. Yeah. The match did go quite some time there, and it put Nikki in a tough spot there, especially because she hasn't been active for a long time. I do think though the work was better than she's been given credit for, 100% in my eyes. The match was, like you said, it wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst. Card placement, all of the above, getting the way we got here, I think contributed to that in some way, at least. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I don't know necessarily who to blame for this one, because obviously we get the big Becky spot later in the night, and that's where things get interesting. We're going to talk about that later. But Ant, did you have anything to add about this one in particular?
I mean, this is one of those things where Nikki's going to get a lot of flack for the botch, the kick. I mean, clearly she was going for John Cena because you can't see him, so she was clearly going for her ex at that point. But seriously though, I think Nikki is somebody that gets a lot of flack because people feel that she was in the position she was in back in the day because she was dating Cena. So there's a lot of negativity towards her. I think she has a lot of ring rust. I didn't think she looked bad in the match other than the couple of botch spots. But again, that comes with ring rust, and it was a very loud crowd. So maybe there was a miscommunication there. I don't know what happened. I don't think it was a horrible story in the sense where you're trying to build the secondary title, the Intercontinental title, and you don't want to go the Lyra Becky route again. So go with somebody that's technically established Hall of Famer. Long reigning Divas champ. So I had no issue with them going for the marquee match of Nikki Bella against Becky Lynch. I had no issue with it. I thought the finish was unique and different than we normally see. I did like the finish, the quick surprise pin. So I was completely fine with it.
Yeah, and I did like the backslide cover was a cool finish, but yeah, at the same time, it wasn't the biggest one. Donnie here with the missed kick was Becky's fault, not Nikki's, but people will call it a Nikki botch. I find that interesting because that's kind of how I read it myself, Donnie. And obviously, you would, with your experience in the business, would know more than me on that. But the way that I saw it was very similar to that. I echo that sentiment. I don't necessarily believe that was all Nikki's fault, and they handled it fine, right?
Yes.
Becky did handle it fine. And so it really didn't bother me that much at the end of the day. But speaking of things that don't bother me that much, let me talk to you about Barista Coffee really quickly. It's Barista. It's small batch organic coffee created through excellence, authenticity, and unforgettable moments. Go ahead and check it out over at barista.com. I assure you, you'll love it. Also, while I'm asking for favors, head over and subscribe to our second channel, Wrestling Republic Undercard. We've got exclusive videos, clips, and more there. That includes sold separately, grappling for position, multiple short form content, long form content, all of the content you could possibly want. If you like our main channel, I assure you, you'll love it. But we've also got a few more things to cover on today's show, including Rusev defeating Sheamus. Anthony, it's not the game over anymore. It isn't. This one, it's the accolade again. I don't know. Does it not just feel like Diet Miro, though? This was a really fun match. The barrels, all the stuff, but something felt amiss. I don't know. Am I wrong?
I don't know why you're crapping all over Rusev Day. How dare you? No, but this was a Donnybrook match. First time they've done that, as far as I recall. It was hard hitting. It was a fun match. It was never going to be, a true classic. I know that's his 5-star banger, and it was. It was entertaining. It kept our attention. A lot of unique spots. Him doing his camel clutch or whatever he's calling it this days on top of the barrels was a cool visual. Him going through Rusev going through the table as well. It was a hard hitting. It's what you wanted out of that match. Rusev needed the win. So I had no issue with it as a whole. I thought, you brought him in, you're going to do something with him. He's probably never going to be in the world title scene unless there's multiple injuries and they need somebody in there for a transitional champ or something like that. But I was completely fine with it. They had really good chemistry. The match delivered. I have no complaints or issues with it.
That's fair. I thought 5 stars was a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
No,
Kobe.
I would have said 4.5.
Thanks a lot,
Okay.
Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, I don't know. Angie, I'm going to ask you really quickly, just since we got some extra time here. Did you think this one deserved 5 stars? I mean, system or not?
I'm all about storylines and everything. What was I supposed to care about with this? It was if we're talking about the match itself, it was fine. It's your usual Donnybrook match. It's just been a very long time since we've actually seen one. Because I can't remember the last time we did a Donnybrook match. But other than that, it was okay as a standalone, but storyline wise, it was one of those ones where you could have cut this one out of the card and put this on either Monday Night Raw or something of that nature. Just it just didn't feel like a PLE worthy match. We could have substituted this out for something else, honestly, like a women's match.
Absolutely. I think that's totally fair. I mean, yeah, it was solid, and at the end of the day, it provided entertainment. But like you said, the storytelling on the way in did not make a heck of a lot of sense, right? It's just been a back and forth basically between two guys that we know each other from back in the day, but there's just not much else there. Let's talk about John Cena. John Cena in his last match ever in Europe. Last time ever. Ever.
Why? Why did you have to be against him? Anyone else? You could have done it against AJ Styles instead. That's my thought on it.
He defeats Logan.
I'm sorry.
I couldn't even get it out. I was like, go ahead, Angie, let it out. Back to
it could have been against AJ Styles. No.
John Cena beats Logan Paul in his last European match. Logan kicked out of quite a few AAs or FUs or whatever you want to call them. Cena does end up getting the victory, and it was awesome. The crowd loved it. We've got the kid from Belgium in there smiling and everything too at the end. It was just interesting. It felt like something might happen at the end. It didn't. I don't know. This felt okay-ish to me. Angie, what were your thoughts besides the one that you've already expressed?
It could have been AJ. It could have been AJ Styles. We could have went ahead and actually still had a great match. But no, it had to be against Logan Paul. Anyway, other than that, the match was all right. I love the fact that if we talk about the fact that it wasn't just the AAs or the 5 knuckle shuffle, it was literally everyone he's faced. And just using the finishers of everyone else, including AJ Styles. And that's what got the crowd going, which I love that chant, by the way. I love it when we go into any country whose main language is French, because that chant is freaking wonderful. But yeah, other than that, it was okay. It was fine. Could have been something else, but it's fine.
I hear
It's
you. I hear
fine.
you. 100%. Okay, Anthony, I have a question for you though, and this is important here. So now it does also feel like we got to hit a reset button outside of the Lesnar stuff that's hanging out there with John Cena. What is next besides Brock Lesnar on the way to this retirement tour?
Well,
The end of it.
they don't want to pay the international cost to probably get Brock over there. So they needed a placeholder. Thus Logan Paul. This is one of those things that I don't know what they're doing. And I feel like as a whole, this John Cena retirement tour, and I know people are going, rah, rah, John Cena retirement tour. The booking has not been, other than checking off a few boxes of going, oh, we're going to get him Punk one more time. We're going to get him Orton one more time. You know what? We never did that heel turn thing. Let's try that for about 5 minutes, and we'll check that box so people could stop complaining that Cena never had the heel turn. Brock's wanted to check off the box. I have said to you, Clark, privately, and I know Ben gets mad every time I say this, where Cena goes his retirement run, going, it's a year. Well, if you want to go from the date he came back, it's technically January to January, even though I know they're promoting December. There's one name that keeps floating around there, and I've implied it multiple times that I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it one last time. I don't really think Cena's farewell tour match-wise, the only one I really enjoyed was his match with Cody at SummerSlam. I think the other ones were all right. They were okay, but I don't think it was the right decision that this is wrapping up, because the matches really aren't screaming to me. I know Kobe disagrees with that. I thought the Logan match was okay. It made Logan look good. Logan does put in the time, despite people, burying him. He actually does put in the time to learn the craft. So he's not just a celebrity in the business. He's actually trying. He's like a Paul Walter Hauser or a Bad Bunny. They're actually putting in the effort to make stuff work. So I mean, it was all right. It was a match. Would I have put Logan Paul on the list of people, the last list of people that Cena should work with before calling it a career? No. When you have a Bronson Reed or a Braun Breaker like these, or Jacob Fatu, these guys that are truly the future of the business, I don't know if I necessarily would have went Logan Paul.
Yeah, I would agree with that sentiment without question, but I also do think, Logan is better than we expected him ever to be.
Listen, I'm not disputing that, but with few dates left, you could have done the Logan Paul match, but I would not have wasted a pay-per-view match on it. Let's put it that way.
Really interesting. I'm gonna have a discussion about that a little later today, to be honest with you. But let's move on to our main event, because this Fatal 4-Way was interesting. The entrances were awesome. Obviously, no Roman Reigns, written off the show early on. With the multiple tsunamis and spears and everything. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we've got LA Knight in there.
Yeah.
He's made some comments about Jey Uso recently too.
Yeah.
I thought LA Knight looked really good tonight. And then you've of course got Rollins and Punk. CM Punk, oh, so close, yet oh, so far away at the end. There was a lot of reckless speculation about who might be the run-in in this certain affair. And let me put it this way, almost everybody was wrong, because it's Becky Lynch. And she returns for one more spot tonight, drops the hammer in the place you're not supposed to. We mentioned Braun Breaker might have caught a shot there earlier in the show, but Becky delivered one absolutely on CM Punk.
That was definitive
to help Seth Rollins retain. Angie, I got to ask you about this match. Becky joining the Vision, all of the above. What were your thoughts?
Oh, if you ever get to a point where you wind up getting someone upset with you and it's like, how mad are you? And they send you a picture of Seth Rollins, you just pack it up. They're going to make every single day the worst day of your life. Because that every time, just finding a way to just mess with CM Punk like this is a work of art. And then just to top it all off of just having your wife be the run-in, that is a whole other level of I'm going to mess with you until I get every single ounce of my pound of flesh. And oh my god, I just really love it. I love it, especially with the fact that just following the feud is just so much fun.
It,
And it's just diabolical. I'm
it
sorry.
really is. No, it's so true. And I mean, we were joking about AJ Lee, not even joking, but a little bit joking, but serious, right? Like the possibility of that tag match and being the return and everything too, and the sadistic nature, like you mentioned, of Seth Rollins. Like this is golden. It's back to the architect days where, not the architect days, but like right after him, right? Authority.
Also,
The other A
are
word.
we going to acknowledge the fact that Seth just basically also took CM Punk's faction idea?
That is
The vision
kind of
is
funny, actually.
it's just the straight edge society.
It is
Can we-
actually a little
it's the
bit,
same thing.
but with hair. It's the straight edge society with hair. That's
All you were missing was the girl, and there you go.
That's so funny. I didn't even actually think about that. Anthony, I got to get your thoughts, though, on this main event. And Becky joining the Vision.
Listen, the Vision, in my opinion, was always the 2025 version of Paul Heyman's Dangerous Alliance from back in the day. And I always said if there was going to be a female added the Medusa role, if you would, it would be Becky. Becky was the logical choice, especially with her being in a heel run as well. I love the rivalry. I know people complain, Seth and Punk again. If you don't understand grudges and really dislike somebody and you can't hold a grudge, that's your own fault for having weak grudge game, because I completely get Seth's complete dislike of Punk and Punk's complete dislike of Seth. I understand that. There have been people in my life I felt that way, so I fully get it. Now, have I gone the methods of those two? No, I just cut them out. But still, I completely understand it. This is one of those things that they're forever rivals. And the thing that works with it is because there's that layer of blurring the lines, because some of it is based on legitimate dislike of one another. Seth didn't like that Punk left the company and, in his own words, tried to destroy the company from the outside, and now he's back in. And, Seth's very protective of the company. He felt the same way towards Cody, allegedly, when Cody came back at 38. Now they're good. But, WWE's always been good at blurring those lines and making money with it. And we've seen Seth and Punk work together multiple times. Even if they do legitimately dislike one another, they make it work. They're making money with it. That's how you do it. LA Knight throwing the shade at Jey Uso, essentially going, "You stole my gimmick." I had a 4-letter word with "yeah," and you went with "yeet." I did the shades before you did the shades. That branches off into another feud that they can do. There's a number of things. You had a fatal 4-way, but those two feuds can branch off and do other things. I thought that was a smart move. And Becky doing the run-in, the heel, well, not the heel run-in, but doing the run-in and joining the group, essentially. That opens the door. WrestlePalooza, the first ESPN WWE PLE is right around the corner. Do we see AJ Lee come back? That's been rumored for a while. To do a husband and wife against a husband and wife, legitimate husbands and wives, far as I know, that's never been done.
It is. It's an interesting prospect. I think you're right.
Yes.
Like, and to be honest,
it's a marquee match.
The interesting part to me is Becky being the surprise. Like, she's already in the building is almost better than had it been AJ tonight. Right? Like, it would have been too early. Like, had it been AJ Lee,
AJ Lee,
that's what we're setting up for.
It wouldn't have made sense. I mean, especially with Punk being the face. Like the heel
Right.
it makes sense. Her coming in to protect her husband, that type of deal.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
that's what I mean. It's like, and then you can work towards that AJ Lee reveal, because I don't know exactly where you do that. That has to be a big show, though.
It has to be
Mm.
live. It has to be a big show. Maybe she comes back at WrestlePalooza. Maybe that's when you do the reveal, and then the match is, I don't know, Survivor Series or something. Maybe that's where you do it.
Mm.
That's an interesting one. Survivor Series would be a cool place to do that, because also, if you're considering War Games, you kind of keep Seth and the Vision out of War Games in that regard.
Yes, you can do that. I mean, unless you did mix, you could do mix with that group.
Mixed War Games would be
but
insane.
but the other factor with that is, if they did it in California, let's say I'm gonna have a mystery partner. They don't have to say AJ Lee. I think she splits times between Chicago and LA, does she not? Because she does Hollywood stuff. So it's a
Right.
lot easier to sneak her in California if that's where you're going to reveal it.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Also, we got a couple comments here from Donnie that I did want to read. He said that this match confirmed that Jay would be world champion again.
I
Actually,
didn't see that, but
I
okay.
don't know that I saw that, but I hear it. But then, yep, people crying about Seth and Punk still ongoing must not have any conflict in their lives, but most folks do. I actually like that comment. Yeah, that is absolutely fair there.
Yeah.
Donnie, no doubt about that. An interesting one. We're talking about Survivor Series just for a second. Obviously, that's, we have Palooza on the way. Do you think it's gonna be Cena and Brock at WrestlePalooza? Do we, as a consensus, I'll start with you, Angie, on that. Do you think that's where we're going here with John Cena?
Oh, I hope not. I really
Yeah.
hope not, because WrestlePalooza seems like it's supposed to be something a little bit bigger than that. And it would be a little strange to go ahead and do it that way. But I mean, I digress on that.
100%. What do you think, Ant?
I think it's a marquee match, considering the fact it's their first on ESPN and they're going head to head with All Out.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that they are going to go all out with this.
Pun intended.
Legitimately, I don't know what other way to put it. Would I do it there? I mean, it's not a first time matchup. It's the first time in a long time. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I know, if you wanted to go the ECW theme, and let's say they're saving Brock for the Saudi show. Let's say they're saving him for the Rumble. Let's say they're doing that. That's a long way to drag that thing out if that's the direction you're going to go with it. But if you wanted to go dig through the bag of old Cena rivals that you can pull out, you can't pull out Edge. The countdown guy, you might not get to the Rumble. So the only other one might be RVD, who has ECW ties if you really wanted to go that route, but it's probably Brock. Yeah. Would they go crazy enough? The two main events are Brock and Cena and the married couples. I don't know if they would blow both those at WrestlePalooza, but then again, ESPN paid them a lot of money. So, and they're going head to head with arguably AEW's biggest show of the year. I know they dispute on what their WrestleMania is. I've kind of always viewed it as All Out because they couldn't get All In at the time because Ring of Honor owned it. So anything's possible. I think we're just going to find out over the next couple of weeks of what they're going to do building this thing.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. And I think the biggest thing I'm trying to get to is I still believe that Dom Mysterio versus John Cena for the IC title in San Diego is the move. It's the 619. It's all of that. And that's the last stone unturned on Cena's record. Besides this wins thing, and he's not going to have 10 more matches.
I think the problem they have with this is, unless Brock is the WrestlePalooza guy, if they're dragging that out to the Rumble, I'm just saying, well, no, not the Rumble, Survivor Series or whatever, wherever they're dragging it, I wouldn't have done the Brock return as soon as you did. Because if you're dragging this out for Cena's last match in December, that's a 4-month wait for that. It's dumb. So if it's not WrestlePalooza, then I think you wasted the SummerSlam return.
That's kind of true. I do think you need to pull the trigger on that match while the iron's still hot, right? Like,
Yeah.
And it's funny to me because it's only August 31st, like, but SummerSlam feels a mile behind us.
Yes.
And it wasn't
Yeah,
that long
no, it
ago,
does.
Yeah.
but it feels forever ago.
But it
And
will
I don't
be.
know exactly why.
But it will be if they drag this out to the December show.
Right.
4 months to get one match, like, you know,
Yeah,
I don't think it's a logical move. I think WrestlePalooza is the most likely spot that this is
absolutely.
going to happen. Would be my guess.
100%.
If there's
I
any
do.
build up for it.
They're doing as the marquee old rivals. That's what they're
Yeah,
doing.
they're just gonna put like the
That's a
put
checkbox,
it,
like the
they're gonna
Orton
do like
one,
the
the
put it
Punk
on a
one.
poster thing. I
Yeah.
think, yeah. I hate to say that. I do actually
That's to draw
believe
people
that
to
that's the
join
plan, at
ESPN.
least. I'm
Yep.
not saying that's what I want, but that's the plan, right? Like,
No, a lot of times it's just marketing. It's marketing.
exactly. Like, yeah,
Because we're looking at it from fans' perspectives. They want the casuals. They want the people that
Yeah.
haven't been watching in years and going,
Yeah.
"Oh, Cena and Brock again?"
Rock on ESPN.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate
Mhm.
state of the stuff
Yeah.
that we're in. Absolutely. Here we go. I think therefore I land with WrestlePalooza as the ADHD PLE. I love that. And then last I heard, it's 100% Cena versus Brock at Palooza from Donnie De Silva for sure. I will say this: we can talk about this the rest of the afternoon, but I do think that's going to bring us to the end of the show. Thank you so much, everybody that tuned in. Check out also brand new the Wrestling Republic podcast that's coming up later today as well. We will be back not at the same time or the same place tomorrow. Well, we will be back at the same place. Never mind. Just not at the same time.
I think
is
it's 5:30 Eastern
yeah.
because Raw is 2 Eastern and that usually runs 2.5 hours. So
Yeah.
4:30.
5:30 Eastern.
Oh yeah. So
2:30 Pacific, like 10:30.
4:30 Eastern. I'm thinking of our draft.
Yeah,
Our draft's
4:30
5:30. Sorry.
The fantasy draft is at 5:30.
Mhm.
You can't tune in for that, but it will be electric as far as entertainment is concerned.
Mhm.
Either way, thank you so much for tuning in as always. We will talk to you soon on behalf of me, Angie, and Anthony. Have a great rest of your Sunday.